Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. I am Erica Grabius. I serve for Moms Nation as the Dyer Location Specialist. I always forget my title, but basically my job is just to help the other Dyer location leaders. So if they have questions, if they don't know where something is, if they just want help brainstorming, that's kind of where I come in and help them out. I'm just kind of a go-to person. I also in the past have served as a mini squad leader and a squad leader, and I will tell you right now that while squad leaders are also very important, mini squad leaders really make or break somebody's time with Moms Nation. So your role is so vitally important. And my job is to also help you. And so I'm going to go over the mini squad leader reference guide, which you can also find in the Google Drive, the leaders folder. If you don't know what I'm talking about or don't know where it is, or if you've never received access, please let your squad leader know. Please let me know. Please let somebody know so that we can get that fixed right away and get you access. So that being said, I have a little slideshow. I'm going to just pull that up right now and we can get started. One second. Okay. So this first slide, I'm really going to read it out because it does such a good job of laying the foundation for your role throughout the year. So your role is to live out the mission of Moms Nation to make the moms in your group feel wanted, needed, loved, and seen. Many squad leaders are generally the leader that group participants have the most interaction with. So it is so important for you to represent your team and your group really well. I just will pause too. This is kind of off script from the reference guide and just tell you that friendships and forming these relationships take time. And this is essentially your role as the mini squad leader is to build these friendships, facilitate the conversations that build these friendships. But I'm here to tell you that that does take time. So I did some research into studies, and this is a little bit different from what you'll see is in the reference guide, but it still is in the same vein and it gives you a good idea. So I did some research and looked at some different studies that said it takes 40 to 60 hours to form a casual relationship, casual friendship. You know them, not super great. 80 to 100 hours to transition from that casual friendship to really being somebody's friend, and over 200 hours to become good friends, like somebody you feel like, yeah, I know them really well. And I'm not telling you this, well, let me break it down. So if we meet 2 hours per meeting, and that's 16, we have each group has 16 meetings per year. That's a max of 32, well, maybe not max, but that's a 32 hours per year that you're spending with someone. And, think about that. That's if you're intentionally spending time with one person at those meetings. It also doesn't take into consideration the outside events, if somebody gets sick. So this is just a rough estimate to give you an idea. Um, and if members only attend meetings, that's it, not outside events, and are able to do that 2 hours, and you're very intentional about spending that time with one particular person at the meetings, that'll take you 2 years to form that casual relationship or friendship that we talked about, 3 years to transition to being a friend, and 6 years to becoming good friends with that person. So I'm not telling you this to discourage you or for you to say, ah, it's going to take forever. So why about? No, that's not at all it. All of this data and things can change based on you. And that's why you are so important, so important. You can drastically decrease that amount of time by having shared experiences with just how intentional you are with your time, with your groups, and with each individual in your groups. I cannot stress enough. It's both a service for you and for those in your group and helping them find other moms to connect with. So you are just so important and don't lose sight of that throughout the year. So before you launch and before your group starts, we look for you to do two things. First of all, welcome your small group. So when you get the list of group members that are going to be in your small group, text each mom and do so individually. Introduce yourself, tell her how much you're excited that she's going to be joining your group and you're excited to meet her if you don't know her. Start that relationship right off the bat. The other thing is to start a group chat. So this is with each member in your group, and this allows them to introduce themselves to each other. I would definitely recommend doing this a little bit closer to the actual start date of your group. And that's only because if you do it too early, then you run the risk of having to start multiple group chats if a new member comes, and that can get pretty confusing for people, or at least I've seen it be very confusing. So it's totally fine if you want to wait and do this like a couple days before or even right after your group meets for the first time to start that up. And in that chat, I encourage you to have them introduce themselves, not only their names and their kids, but also give them something fun to talk about, maybe what their favorite snack is, or favorite place they went on vacation over the last year. Just something to kind of break the ice. And that also gives people a jumping off point to talk to them about that thing when they are together again. So at the first meeting, your job is really ultimately to make the members of your group feel welcomed. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can do this with just spending some time doing icebreaker games and getting to know you games. The goal here is to be fun and lighthearted. Again, we're just breaking the ice and getting people to know each other. You can also pass out information sheets. So the goal here is to receive their contact information outside of just what you have from the registration of their time at Moms Nation. But also you can learn things about her likes and dislikes, like favorite foods, so that if you have an opportunity throughout the year to encourage her or celebrate her, you can do so in a way that doesn't require you asking or guessing because you already have a list of things that she likes. So we have examples of this, or you can create your own. You can ask things like their favorite coffee, their favorite candy, their favorite meal, or favorite fast food place, or favorite way to spend their time, things like that. It also is really helpful to have this list, but also for yourself, but share it with your group so that they too can encourage that person and surprise each other throughout the year. It's really fun. I really enjoy doing that myself. Schedule a meetup, schedule a time to get together. That first meeting is a great way to get things going, but we want to keep that momentum going. And a great way to do that is with a time to continue building those friendships outside of the regular meeting times. So do your best to come up with a time that works for everyone. I know that can be challenging, but you can maybe meet during your regular meeting time on a week off. You can try and alternate too, doing first one outside, like evening event and maybe one daytime event, depending on availabilities. The first meeting is also very important for just setting the tone. So this is where you are setting expectations for your group and the time that you will have together in those meetings, just giving them a lay of the land of what to expect. So you'll want to go over and read through the mini squad covenant and just set those expectations for the year. And also just answer any questions that somebody has. The Strive for Fives too, I did this with another small group that I was a part of. And I love the idea of it, and it really helped us understand each other as we got to know each other. So the idea of this is to stress the importance of full group participation. You want everybody to participate. So while we can't force people to participate, of course, we want to make sure that people are still getting the opportunity to share if they want to. So in this concept, what you would do is ask the group individually to take a moment and consider like how open and talkative they tend to be in group settings. So if they're super open and talkative, they would rate themselves. We did it a 5, but you could say a 10. And if they're super quiet and reserved, you would rate yourself as a 1. And they can use any number in between that to kind of self-reflect and give themselves a number. And then after everybody has their number, then you go around and each person shares with one another what they think their number is. And so if you tell yourself, or if you kind of self-identify as more of the 10s, like you're super talkative and super outgoing, super extroverted, that's good to know, and to just be mindful of others that want to maybe have some time to share their thoughts. And if you're 1, if somebody's a 1, to push them outside of their comfort zone a little bit. And the goal is to get everybody as closest to that middle ground, or a 5, as possible. So everybody's striving for that 5, that middle ground. I, as a leader, also found it really helpful to know where people kind of fell in that scale, because it's an easy way to say, hey, we haven't heard from any of the like 1s or 2s in the group lately. Let's hear from them and just be quiet, give them a chance to talk. And it's kind of a polite way of just saying, be quiet, people, so we can hear from others. It's, again, worked really, really well. And I think it's okay for you to, and I've done this as a leader, just say, hey, so-and-so, Susie, I haven't heard from you. Can you tell us what your thoughts are or what you're thinking? And if you ever don't want to share, you could just say pass, but I'd love to hear what you're thinking right now. So it's a great way just to get people to talk who might not normally talk. So why are small groups important? Yeah, we are a very lonely group. Or we're not a group, we're lonely like people. A lot has changed in our society, and studies are showing that over 78% of Americans admit the feeling of loneliness. And more than anything, Moms Nation wants the moms that come to our group to feel and to leave feeling like they are building relationships with other moms who get them, who support them, who understand them, and that they aren't alone. So your role as a mini squad leader is to nurture those relationships. So it's so important, just to help that. It can be, I definitely remember as a early on in my motherhood, just feeling very lonely and isolated. And so we want to remove some of that and pull people into our community. And that is a huge responsibility of yours. And as a Christian, just to show the love of Christ to all the moms in their group, in your group. And this can definitely be seen in both ways, that you interact with them individually and as a mini squad as a whole. So just keep that in mind with everything that you're doing. It's also important because personality clashes will happen. There will be moms that you click with and moms that you just have a really hard time connecting to, and even moms that are just plain hard. But you all have a common bond in motherhood. So look for ways that you might have something in common with them, and do your best to look past those differences and encourage each other to look past those differences. If you do encounter moms that are just having a harder time, or you're having a harder time with, I encourage you to pray for them more, go out of your way to love them harder. I know that my dad always told me that if you find yourself not really liking somebody, you need to get to know them even more and better, because there's something else there that you're missing. So if you do experience conflict and can't resolve issues, please reach out to like squad leader, the location specialist, that's me, for Dyer. or Moms Nation staff for guidance. We're here to help you, and we'll kind of go into that a bit more, but just remember that everybody who is in your small group is a mom, and that is something that you can all connect over. Listen more than you speak. So this is a saying that God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason, but it is true. Just take care. This group is not for you necessarily to talk the whole time. You should also be listening. So when people are struggling, they're not always looking for advice. They're not always looking for ways that you can kind of fix it for them. They often are just looking for somebody to talk to and to share with a trusted person the struggle that they're having. So just think about how you are listening and listening more than you speak. Also, along with that is just not offering that unsolicited advice. So if somebody is kind of talking, unless they are specifically asking for advice, it might be helpful instead to say, hey, it sounds like you're having a hard time. Are you looking for advice, or do you want to just share with us right now? So that way you're just being very open and just asking them outright what they're looking for and sharing that struggle with everyone. In your small group, there's no better way to bond everybody than just authenticity and being vulnerable. So do your best to encourage that in your community. Make them feel comfortable to share what they're struggling with, be supportive and empathetic and sympathetic whenever appropriate. In the event that you do encounter somebody who's sharing something you just can't relate to, don't dismiss them and don't move past her too quickly. That might be very challenging for her. And despite the fact that you yourself or knowing the group can come alongside her necessarily in a way that you yourself haven't gone through it, maybe you can just point her to somebody else or talk to steering about who might be able to truly come alongside her and empathize with her, because you can relate to what she's going through. And if you can relate, just saying in a simple, like, yeah, me too. Like, yeah, that's hard, me too, goes a really long way. Also important as a mini squad leader, some years your group will get along great, and other years it won't, and that's okay. There is no magic formula for creating small groups. So we encourage you to make the best of what you have, pray about it, give it up to God. If you do have a great group, just enjoy it and relish it. That is such a treasure, and you don't know how rare that is. Not rare, but it's so special to get a group where everybody really jives together. And if it doesn't, yeah, just pray about it, talk to other people about it, maybe come up with some other ways to connect with people. But no matter what the dynamic, it is imperative that you, as the mini squad leader, worked and to take care of and love on each member of your group. Okay, so what do you do during your group time? Great question. This is kind of a general outline of the time, or what you should do with the time in your mini squads. So the first thing you should do is share a short devotional if you'd like. It is optional, but if there's something on your heart, we do encourage you to share, especially if it relates to the speaker or whatever you guys did that day, or even seasonally, or if there's a specific holiday coming up. Feel free to share a devotional. You totally can do that. And I think sometimes that opens the door for further discussion. Also take prayer requests. I love doing this. While you can do it at any time, I always like to do it right at the beginning, because I've found that it ensures that we don't run out of time. It also allows people to bring up things that they need to or feel the need or feel led to share with the group. And that too, that praise or that prayer can lead to some pretty amazing conversations. So I highly recommend doing that earlier, but you can totally do it at the kind of end of your group time as well. If you have a speaker, you likely were provided discussion questions related to whatever topic they spoke on. And so use these to encourage and guide the conversation that you have. This gives direction and encourages you guys to go deeper. And it also keeps the conversation on track if you find yourself getting too far off topic. If the topic allows and if you feel comfortable, use that to share something vulnerable yourself. Follow that path, kind of feel out how your group is doing, and yeah, go down that path as you see fit. Especially want to say too that the discussion questions are also not mandatory. They're a tool. So they're used to help you. But again, if you find that your group is kind of the conversation is going in a direction that it needs to go, then encourage it. Don't stop that train from going down that track. Allow it to go and follow it. And then finally, dismiss on time. So we just want to be really respectful, not only in honoring the mom's time, but also the childcare workers' times. So please end your group on time. I, in the past, would tell my group members, hey, I have an alarm going off 5 minutes before our end time so that I know to stop what we're doing or wrap it up and pray so that we can get out on time. So just be conscious of that. And if people want to continue conversations afterwards, they are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, we really want to just be respectful of other people. Okay. Oh, and after your meeting, please make sure you're messaging the group members who are absent. Let them know that they were missed. There's nothing worse than like not attending a meeting and feeling like nobody really cared if I was there or not. That's a terrible feeling. And that goes completely against what we're trying to do with Mom Station. Like we want them to feel like their absence was missed and that we really value who they are and what they bring to the table, and that it's such an easy way to kind of win people's hearts is just letting them know when they can't make it that we wish they were there. Also, you in this text ask if they had prayer requests that the group as a whole can pray for. Share any big announcements that she needs to know, and just tell her that you hope she can be there the next time. Okay, outside of your meetings, that group time is amazing. Like I said at the very beginning, group time, we meet 16 times a year and that time is wonderful. But that's just a kind of a foundation for creating more relationships and time and kind of building on that foundation. So that means that if your goal as a mini squad leader is to get these moms to connect, you need to go beyond the walls of our meeting time and find other opportunities to connect. And that is especially true if there is more than 1 week in between your regular meeting times. So there are lots of ideas out there. We've seen tons of creativity, which is so like it's encouraging as the central team to see. And yeah, I just am so impressed when people come up with cool things. But some ideas is one-on-one time. This can look like asking somebody to go to coffee, breakfast, go on a walk, have a play date, run errands together. Like, hey, I'm going to Costco. Do you want to come with? You can do more group things with or without kids. It can look like a park play date with your whole group or 2 different groups from your Moms Nation group. Can be going to the pumpkin patch or sledding in the winter, Easter egg hunts, date nights, kid swaps, you name it. But try to find days and times that work best for everybody. And like I said, switch. So if you do a daytime event, think about doing the next one an evening event for somebody who that timing might work better. Also outside of meeting is just general communication. So life gets so busy and it's easy to forget to chat with your group, especially between these meetings. So text them, individually check in on them, and this, I will say, is really important for somebody who is completely new to Moms Nation. It can just be very discouraging if the communication is limited to meeting reminders, announcements, text about food duty. It's more than that. Like, we are creating a relationship with these people. It's not all business. This is a relationship building. So find a way to communicate that works for everybody in your group. Be mindful that not everybody is on social media. And when a new member enters into your group, add them as soon as possible. You can do this too. There's lots of different creative, again, ways that people have done this, just to do it on a regular basis that encourages conversations. So you can do something like Mugshot Monday. So every Monday, everybody takes a selfie of wherever they are, whatever they're doing, just to share how, and then shares how they're doing. So I love this. Just what are you up to? What's kind of going on? You can do Real Life Wednesday, where you are taking a picture of the messiest spot in your house. And this is very entertaining. Also encourages vulnerability, because who wants to share their messy place in their house? And yeah, I think people can kind of connect to it and empathize when you say, I've had to microwave my coffee for the 5th time today, and then you're holding your coffee cup. Pretty hilarious. Also, Prayers Up Thursday, where people just share their prayers, prayer requests, things going on, things that they need prayer for. This is a place where you can share and follow up with prayer requests, celebrate milestones with people, celebrate mom wins, somebody figured out potty training finally, that's awesome, and just generally check in on each other. With this, just be mindful of time of day, so make sure you're not sending text messages at 1 a.m. And if moms are wanting to chat beyond those hours, just encourage them to move those conversations to like a private text message so that your group chain isn't blowing up. But all that said, it's also used for group logistics. So make sure you're sending text reminders when it's meeting week, share when events are happening or something with the service project, if there's special details surrounding that, and any other announcements that they need to know. And finally, well, not finally, but everybody's favorite is food. So if your group is on deck to provide food that week, you are responsible for reminding them and to coordinate. So each time that you guys do have food, just remind your group of what expectations that they are to bring. So quantities, type. Your foodie mom will communicate all this to you. Each group has different rules and guidelines. So make sure there's a good variety of foods too, that there are foods, especially if somebody has an allergy, make sure that you are providing foods so that they can eat too. And that dietary restrictions are followed. And again, your foodie mom will have all of this information. Give them the time of when they need to be there in order to deliver the food. And make sure they know that even if they cannot make it, they're still responsible for their food. So they can switch with somebody else for a different week. They can, if they're struggling, tell their mini squad leader, you, to help them figure something out. And the only exception with this is if they're sick. We don't really want to eat their food if they are suddenly sick. And don't let finances get in the way. So this bringing meal should not ever be a financial burden to a mom. So if someone's unable to do this, just work with her. Maybe she can just bring a creamer. Maybe she can just bring a bunch of bananas. That's totally fine too. Maybe another leader is able to help supplement some of the ingredients so that she can still bring like a full casserole, but isn't paying for each and every ingredient in it. So just work with your mom squad to determine like what accommodations can be made, but we just don't ever want finances to get in the way. And equally, don't let time, energy, or interest get in the way. A store-bought food item is perfectly fine. A box of donuts, a pizza. Casey's has amazing breakfast pizzas, super easy, pick it up. So don't let that stop you either. We are just happy that you are there. So with bringing food is cleaning up food. So if your group brings food, it's your group's job to clean up and just make sure you're washing and drying dishes, other utensils according to whatever location's rules, kitchen rules that they have. And the foodie mom can direct everybody on what that looks like. So, like I said, if you bring food, clean it up, wash, dry, it's done during small group time. And it's still time that you can be intentional and talk to people as you're cleaning. And then, oh, all food needs to be taken home. Unless you're given special permission by your location, all food must be taken home. Yes, food allergies is a big one. This is just an increasing thing that we're seeing, is that more and more people have different allergies or things that they can't tolerate. So please just make sure as much as you can that you are providing foods for people who have those allergies. Make sure it's clearly labeled. Maybe even print a list of ingredients, print the recipe, cut the ingredient panel from the packaging, make it very clear that this is something that maybe someone with a gluten allergy can eat. The central team has done an amazing job in providing a super handy resource with recipes and things that you can use and make that are allergy friendly for specific allergies. So check those out if you don't know. And if possible, too, that if you have somebody in your group who is herself gluten-free, maybe she would prefer to bring a gluten-free item because then she can take it home and eat it. And equally, she is used to cooking gluten-free and baking gluten-free, so she would be the best person to do that. So work with everybody in your group. And I guess I just want to say that that as much as this might be difficult or challenging, and I am not somebody who has an allergy, so this can be challenging for me, but I really see it as a way to care for these moms intentionally just by providing food options for them. It really is small in light of other things that I do. And I just can't imagine showing up and not being able to eat any of the food. Like that would be just a terrible feeling. And I never want somebody to feel that way. So just think about this when you are um, making food. Okay. Handling conflicts. So conflict will arise. It almost always does when you are in a group setting. Personalities are different, like we kind of mentioned, and disagreements are going to happen. People are going to get hurt by maybe things people say or do. So this is to be expected, but it's something that you, as a leader, we're hoping to equip you to handle if you don't feel comfortable already. So Matthew 18 is the way that Faith Church handles all conflicts. And it has very specific guidelines set forth on how to deal with this. So the first is just to be very direct. Well, let me back up. I want to say first that it's important that you stay calm. So when somebody's bringing this to your attention, stay very calm, hear both people out, respond very gracefully. This is very hard, and feelings are real and they're allowed to feel them. And it's okay to take time. If somebody has something that they're bringing to you, it's okay if you say, I hear you and I want to respond. I just need some time to think about it. Totally acceptable. But then you must respond. This isn't something that you can ignore and move forward. You do need to respond. I also just want to point out that virtual communication really needs to be avoided if possible. Things can get misconstrued when you are texting or sometimes even over the phone. So I really encourage you to try and meet one-on-one. FaceTime is even better than a phone call. Seeing body cues and just being together and talking face-to-face is just so important when trying to handle a conflict and move forward from that conflict. Also, as a leader, you need to hear every single party out before making judgments or adding comments or decisions. So again, like I said, Faith Church follows Matthew 18, which says this. So when there's conflict, and these are to be taken one at a time. Be direct and tell that other person in a one-on-one conversation what's bothering you without an audience. 2 is if that one-on-one conversation did not work and something is still not going well, invite a third party to mediate and discern what steps forward you guys can take. And if that still doesn't work, then you call somebody else, you call the church and a church member. And in our case, it would be the Moms Nation director who can step in if needed. Or anyone, like even your squad leader could step in and help, someone else that you trust who is going to handle this in a biblical way. But we just want to make sure that every conflict management situation is done according to the Bible, because that's what we're called to do as Christians. Also important is gossip. Shut it down. Shut it down immediately of any kind. That's not what this group is about. We do not gossip. We do not create that sort of division within your groups. So if you do encounter it, like I said, stop it immediately. That is so against the culture of what we're trying to create at Moms Nation and even the values of Faith Church. Okay. So gifts are not mandatory at all or even necessary. So do not feel obligated to do that in serving as a mini squad leader. Should you choose to do that, that is up to you. You may, of course, with if you want to do Christmas, birthday, end of the year, whatever you want to do. But what I want to just stress is that this should not create a financial hardship for yourself or your family. That is so generous, and it's, I'm sure, very appreciated, and it's a huge blessing to those that you are giving those things to. But it definitely, again, should not ever come as a sacrifice to your family. So just make sure you're thinking about that. Additionally, Moms Nation tries really hard to create an experience kit and to kind of do things for them in other ways. So that is not on you. Supporting those in your group is another huge piece, right? So we're called in Romans, it says, rejoice with those who rejoice and weep with those who weep. So life is filled with crazy circumstances. And our hope is just that you and your group will walk with the women when they are struggling and also celebrate with them when they're celebrating. That is a great way to make them feel loved and seen. You can do this through a meal train. So work with your caring mom for any mom that feels like a meal train would help her. This can be an expectant mom, a mom with a surgery, a mom with a death in the family. It could be for any reason that you feel like that would really help them in their time, in their season. You can work with the caring mom to set that up. And make sure to share that meal train link with the mini squad, with your mini squad minus the recipient, so that you encourage those in your group to specifically help and love on her. And you could even offer to serve her while you drop the meal off. So if you want, like, say, hey, I'm dropping a meal. Do you want to run upstairs and shower and I'll watch your kids? Or maybe she just needs somebody to talk to. Maybe she just wants help loading her dishwasher, or some household chore that she just can't get around to. Also, excuse me, we can also celebrate life. They can be positive things, excuse me, like a job promotion, a new home, potty training, graduations, first steps, sleeping through the night. And also, like I said, more in the supportive role of helping them through a miscarriage or a divorce or job loss, surgery, death, extended illness. Find ways, no matter what happens throughout the year, your job is just to make them feel loved and wanted and seen and needed. So if you can do that and reach that goal with just one woman, then that will create such a ripple effect in those around her. Okay, so like I said, it doesn't matter what happens this year. That's your job. You can accomplish this with just one person and you will literally change the world around that person. So keep that in mind with everything that you do. Also encourage your moms. So this is a volunteer role. They're meant to cheerlead the other moms, pray with you, hold babies while you eat, share tools, listen, provide encouragement, but just include your encourager moms. Sometimes they can feel a little left out or not sure how they're going to help your group. So just, I think more than anything, they just want to be included. So just make sure to invite them even to outside events. They would just love that. So we all know the story of the elephant, and maybe you don't, so I'll tell you. But in the wild, when a mom elephant is giving birth, all the other female elephants herd back around her in formation. They close ranks so that that delivering mom cannot be seen in the middle of them. They stomp and kick up dirt and soil and throw the attackers off any scent. So they essentially act as a pack of bodyguards around that mama. They send that clear signal. By doing so, they're sending that clear signal to the predator that if they want to attack their friend while she is vulnerable, they'll have to get through 40 tons of female aggression first. When the baby elephant is delivered, the sister elephants do two things. They kick sand and dirt all over that newborn to protect the fragile skin from the sun. And then they all start trumpeting, a female celebration of new life, of sisterhood, of something beautiful being born in a harsh, wild world, despite enemies and attackers and predators and odds. And scientists tell us this. They normally take this formation in only two cases: under attack by predators like lions and during the birth of a new elephant. And this is what we do, moms. When our sisters are vulnerable, when they are giving birth to new life, new ideas, new ministries, new spaces, when they are under attack, when they need their people to surround them so that they can create, deliver, heal, recover, we get information. We close ranks and literally have each other's backs. You want to mess with us, come through. You want to mess with our sis, you come through us first, and good luck. When delivery comes, when new life makes its entrance, when healing finally begins, when the night has passed and our sister is ready to rise up, we sound our trumpets because we saw it through together. We celebrate, we cheer, we raise our glasses and give thanks. And maybe you need this too. If you're closing ranks around a vulnerable sister, your girls you have you surrounded while you are tender, this is how we do it. There is no community like a community of women, and that is definitely for sure. So my prayer for you this year is that you, as a mini squad leader, surround those who need to be surrounded, or tell the women in your group to get into formation, because we are here together and we're doing this together. So like I said, if you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to reach out, and just know that you are being prayed for. Your group is being prayed for. God gave you each of those women in your group for a reason. And we just pray that you can make each of them feel wanted, seen, needed, and loved this year. Okay. Thanks everybody for listening.